Any thoughts on those teams, Mickey?
No, but I do have one. San Diego State.
San Diego State. Okay.
Yeah, I get it. They lost Rashard Penny, and I mean they do have a good running back in Juwan Washington, who rushed for 759 yards in just a reserve role. I mentioned 7 touchdowns. Their quarterback Christian Chapman, I compare him to kind of like a Alex Smith. Doesn't produce huge numbers. Great for the offense. Kind of a little dump off guy. I think they can really put it together. They start off, I think, against Stanford, if I'm not sure, and I think they could possibly beat them if everything goes right. Also, they have a pretty good schedule, actually. Stanford, Arizona State. I think they beat Arizona State. Stanford would be a tough one. They beat them last year, though, so don't roll them out.
I definitely feel that. I think they have the potential. They just need in-house talent to just step it up this season. I definitely feel that. Very good sleeper right there. Another one that you could say, I'm not too sure about it, but and it could prove me wrong. They could go on a disastrous course. I don't think they will. Is Arizona. Khalil Tate, quarterback Khalil Tate, one of the best, puts up video game numbers. Now, I don't believe video game numbers should put you specifically in the Heisman running. You should be able to lead a very much so winning team as well. It's all about the culture before you, and that should be what the Heisman Trophy is about, is your individual accomplishments plus your ability to lead a team as well. So I think that because of that, I don't have Khalil Tate in that Heisman watch. Yeah, he's for me, it'd be like an honorable mention because he can put up as many stats as he wants, but he's not an elite quarterback. He just puts up those stats. But he is a great quarterback. He's dual threat. I think that him with who is the guy from Texas A&M? Why am I blanking on so many names today? He went from Texas A&M to Arizona. Quarterback. Johnny Manziel coach. Yeah, who is he?
Kevin Sumlin?
Kevin Sumlin went to Arizona. All of that, they say it was, that one tweet that Tate put out talking about Kevin Sumlin kind of swayed that school's direction into hiring him. I think he's going to do very good there at Arizona. I think he has coached a top 10 team before, and he can do it again. It's not just, I get that people say he had a lot of talent at A&M, and he did, and he had Johnny Manziel, which he did.
Mike Evans.
And Mike Evans. You don't just luck into that, though. You have to coach to a certain extent. Even if it gets easier, it's still a lot of coaching. And I think he can coach this team to, maybe at the end of the season get into the top 25, maybe top 20. It could happen. I don't know how realistic it is, but if you're going to talk about a sleeper, you have to mention them. They have a great quarterback and a good to great coach in Kevin Sumlin and Khalil Tate. Anybody else? I'd like to mention South Carolina too. They beat NC State last year, which was a very talented team. South Carolina is very impressive. They have Deebo Samuel, who's very, very good. Their quarterback, who is that? I'm trying to believe. But they have a great quarterback. Very good team. Their Coach Muschamp, very veteran coach, good leader of men. This team could, do something. I don't know how far they could get. I think they're going to cap out in maybe the mid to early 20s. But it's a sleeper to where if they were to pull an upset, these guys could go into the top 15. Those guys definitely could. I don't really see many others that, you can talk about Texas A&M. They have Fisher. They have Jimbo. Jimbo is obviously a great coach. I think, for me, I'd have to put Saban and Sweeney, Dabo Sweeney in the conversation of the best in college football. I think now that Kelly's back, him and Fisher in that, I'd say that Sweeney and Saban are in the A+ category. There really is no better version of them, but if you're looking at just a solid A, that's Chip Kelly and Fisher right there. I get it. They both disappointed sometimes in their careers, but for the most part, they've been pretty consistent. They're great coaches. They're able to build powerhouse teams at FSU and Oregon. They've done it before, and they can do it again. I have all the faith in the world in Jimbo Fisher. Again, just like with Kelly, this is a transition year for them. They still have his talent coming in. He still has to coach it up. I think they'll be better next year than this year. But again, a sleeper team that could surprise some teams, especially with this great of a coaching staff, make moves into the top 10 by the end of the season. Now, let's move on. Mickey, who do you think at the end of the day is going to be the top 4 teams for the college football playoff this year?
All right, I'm going to do in order. 1, Alabama.
Okay.
No one's catching Alabama.
Okay.
I mean, they'll probably lose a game here and there, but I guarantee you the guy who takes their spot's going to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
2, I'm going to go with Penn State.
Okay.
Yeah, I know they lost Saquon Barkley and
Yeah.
everything, but I think they're still going to be good.
Okay.
3, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And 4, Auburn.
Auburn. Okay.
Who
Nice.
you got?
If I'm going to pick a top 4 teams, I think obviously number 1 you got to go Bama. I can't, in good conscience, leave out Clemson, but I don't think they're my number 2. So obviously number 1 Bama. I have super high expectations, and this could end up just biting me in the butt. But I think Georgia. Well, let's be safe with the number 2. I'm going to say Georgia number 2. We're going to have the 2 SEC teams back to back, just like last year. I feel it. Georgia's just too strong of a team. They didn't lose anybody. If anything, they really gained people. So I'm going to go with Georgia. Now, here's where it gets tricky. I think Michigan beats Ohio State this year, and I think Michigan kind of takes that Big Ten mantle. I really do. I have a lot of faith in them. So I'm going to say Michigan number 3. And again, that could come back and just either be a great prediction or horrible. Either way, it's just it's a roll of the dice, but I really do think they could be number 3. And then number 4, probably looking at Clemson. If not Clemson, Miami. You're going to be looking at an ACC team. Look, the ACC is a great conference. I get they're a little slept on sometimes. This is a great conference. You're looking at who they have. They have Clemson. They have Miami. They have NC State. They have Virginia Tech. Florida State. It's a great conference to be in for football. One of the most, not top heavy, but it just has some great powerhouse schools on the top of it. I think it's going to do great this year. And that's why I think Clemson or Miami would be the number 4 seed. It's just whoever wins it. Miami could end up winning it. They're not the odds favorite to, but they could. And with that, I'd have Auburn, Washington, just barely missing the cut. Wisconsin. Wisconsin's, it's hard to not even put them in a playoff. They're like everybody talks about, they're the underrated team who's not underrated. They're the underrated team of the elite. This team is great. They have no significant weaknesses. Their running back, Jonathan Taylor, probably in terms of talent, the best running back in the nation, right there with Bryce Love. Now, I don't know if he'll put up the numbers to win the Heisman this year. He could, and he's honestly one of the favorites too. Like I would have him up there with Bryce Love and any of the quarterbacks that we mentioned previously to win the Heisman. He's that good of a running back, especially as a freshman. That was an amazing showing he put up last year. They have a great coach. I think this team, if any team's going to beat Michigan, I don't think it's Ohio State. I think Michigan's beating Ohio State and finally switching that up this year and winning that series. But if any team is going to beat Michigan, it's going to be Wisconsin. That team definitely could. They have the manpower, the strength on both lines to beat them. They could. They definitely could. I don't think they have the quarterback to put up with Patterson. But if anybody's going to, like I just said, if anybody's going to beat Michigan, it's going to be Wisconsin. Those would be the only guys I could see slipping into the top 4. And it sucks as well because I'm looking at this other team right now, Oklahoma. I can't put them in it with good faith because I'm just too big of a fan of Baker Mayfield. And I'm not saying last year's success was solely on Mayfield because it wasn't. But he was a big part of it. And I think his leadership is going to be missed. I don't think it's going to be just totally left for dead. I think they have a great leader in Kyler Murray. But I think his passion and leadership is irreplaceable to a team. If you have a guy like Baker Mayfield in your program and he leaves, it is going to be an uphill battle to get that back because that guy has passion for days. So with that, I just don't see Oklahoma making it in the top 4. They're going to be one of the most fun teams to watch in college football, though. Don't get me wrong. Lincoln Riley is one of the best bright young minds. I think within the next 5 years, we'll be looking at Lincoln Riley as we do Saban and Sweeney. That's just how good he is. He's that great of a football mind. He's going to take Oklahoma to heights they haven't seen in a long time. Obviously, they just made it to the playoff, but I think it's not going to end until they win multiple national championships. But yeah. Anything else you want to talk about in terms of college football?
So we both have no Pac-12 school.
No. Oh yeah, that's right. That's a conversation we just Mickey and I just had this conversation the other day. I don't think I think the Pac-12 is by far the weakest conference in college football. I think that they don't have
weakest Power 5.
Washington, yeah. Washington is obviously the best team, hands down. Mm-hmm. They're a top 10 team in the nation. I don't ever see them beating an SEC or an ACC school. I don't see them beating Clemson. If Washington played Clemson today, they'd get clobbered. They'd get clobbered. And just like they did in the playoffs the other year, destroyed by Alabama. These Pac-12 schools are great. They can have great records, great players. That's cool. They don't have the depth or the manpower to beat an SEC team or an East Coast team. They just don't. That's why I think the Pac-12 is the weakest it's been in a long time. USC's not what it was. They just lost Arnold. I really don't think they're going to be that good this season. Mm-hmm. Mediocre at best. Yep. Well, mediocre probably at worst, and then just semi-good at best. UCLA, again, transition year. I don't think this is the year they start winning that much. A little bit better than mediocre. Good team. Not great. Other than that, you have Washington. Oregon, I love that new head coach for them, the one that got promoted, Mario Cristobal. That's a great promotion from within. Great hire, in-house hire for them. I love that guy, but I don't see. These are all teams in transition in the Pac-12, and they're not great. They're not bad. They're just right in between, and that's not good enough to be called the best conference in America. I think they're one of the worst because they're still transitioning. And if you had to pick a name for that conference, it wouldn't be their Pac-12 conference. It'd be the transitioning conference because that's all of their programs are transitioning to someone new, with the one exception being Washington. They're the only ones that have consistently been great in the past couple of years. Everyone else is still catching up. But I don't know. I know, Mickey, I know you like the Pac-12 conference. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, I mean, I'm totally with you. The Pac-12 conference is not good anymore. But however, I do think that you can maybe see an SC in the top 4, maybe a Washington. But I don't know. We just got to see. Don't forget, Washington does have the quarterback. I think his name's Jake Browning.
Yeah, Jake Browning.
He's a beast.
He is good.
I think he's good.
He's good.
He can win you some games, but again, I don't know if it's enough to get you into the top 4. And I think those are the only 2 teams that have a chance of making it all the way. Stanford always falls apart.
Yeah. I mean, I like Shaw. Great dude. Great program. I don't see it with them. I see Bryce Love Bryce Love is that team. I'm not saying he's the whole team. They have a lot of talent in that program, but they're going as far as Bryce Love takes them this year. And without that great of a quarterback, I just don't see it. Not in the Pac-12. The one thing the Pac-12 does have are explosive offenses at that, and I don't see that team competing with those other offenses really. But their defense is great. They have a great defense. So we'll see how it goes with the Pac-12. But again, I'm very excited for college football this year. There's a lot of very exciting young players, young teams. It's going to be very fun to watch. Anything else you want to bring up when it comes to college football? I think, so this is mainly like a college football podcast, but episode 3 of Cal's Call. So thank you guys for tuning in. Again, I'm Joseph Callamore.
I'm Mickey Flynn.
And we'll see you guys later.